We're joined today by so many angel families who are grieving a terrible loss. They've gone through hell. Steve Ronnebeck was the father of 21-year-old Grant Ronnebeck, a beautiful guy, who was shot and murdered by an illegal alien while he was working behind the counter of a convenience store in Arizona. He was working behind the counter. Steve, would you please come forward? We'll talk about your boy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good to see you. You know, I spent some time with President Trump in his first election. President Trump talked about Grant even before he was elected in 2016. And finally, we had hope. We had hope that it was going to end. I was just talking to Secretary Noem that we all sat around the table one day during one of our visits to Washington. And again, the word preventable came up. All these deaths at the hands of illegal immigrants are preventable. They could have been stopped. We could have done so much more, unfortunately, at the hands of an election that we question. Somebody took their foot off the brakes and put their foot on the accelerator to let these people into our country. And it wasn't just regular people, it was criminals, it was murderers, killers, rapists. And now today, we are finally going to see that somebody's going to remember all of our loved ones. They're going to remember the names, and they're going to remember what we've all been through. Thank you, Mr. President.
And think of it, I'm not talking politics, I'm just talking life. If that election, if it wasn't rigged, it was a rigged election by millions and millions of votes. A guy that never left his basement, it was all run by crooked people. COVID was a little bit of a shield. We had a lot of things going on. But it was rigged by millions of votes. We did great in that election. If that election wasn't rigged, every single one of the people in this room right now would not be here. You'd be home with your son, daughter, family. We had a strong border. You know, we solved it twice, Tom. We solved it in 2016. The border was bad. Nothing like it was this time. It was like beautiful compared to this time. This was legendary. In the history of the world, there's never been a border like this where millions of people poured in. At least 25 million people. And many of them were the wrong people. Many. You know, when countries fill up the caravans, they don't fill them up with their finest. I wouldn't. And I would do exactly what they did if the United States would be willing to take all of our criminals and people, or people that don't work. But they are smart people. I got to know most of those leaders. I know them. I said, what are you doing? They said, look, it was a totally open border. They saved hundreds of millions of dollars, and they gave it to us, and we've done a great job. Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, our people, they've been incredible, the job they've done. And they take nothing but abuse, but, you know, they're sort of pretty hardened to that, I think, because they know they're doing the right thing. It just amazes me that there's not more support out there. It's just, we actually have a silent support. I think it's silent. I think it's well, that's how I won. I got probably 85 million votes. They say 78 million, 79 million. They cheated in this election, too. It was just too big to rig. Too big to rig. But they cheated like hell. They can't win on policy. Men and women's sports. We have a new one, though. Voter ID. I think that's as crazy as they won't approve voter ID. They won't approve proof of citizenship. They won't approve no mail-in ballots, even though they know it's crooked as hell. Where the ballots are sent to, in many cases, Democrats. Republicans don't get theirs, and they're calling frantically to get their ballot. A Democrat will get 3, 4, 5, 6, and even 7 ballots. And then we're supposed to win. That's what they're good at. They're professional cheaters. But we wouldn't be here right now. I'm just thinking as we're going through it, because we've suffered through it together. I suffer for the country. I mean, it's the people I've gotten to know, the mothers and fathers, mostly mothers and fathers. Husbands in some cases, wives in some cases, but mostly mothers and fathers, what they have to go through. Also with us is Marie Vega, the mother of Javier Vega Jr., a retired U.S. Marine and Border Patrol agent, so respected, who was murdered in front of his family by 2 illegal aliens, bad ones, really bad ones. People you could look at them and you could say, trouble. Trying to steal his family's trucks. He wanted to take everything the family had, but the trucks in particular. Marie, please come forward. Thank you, darling.
President Trump, on behalf of my family and I, thank you for hosting this beautiful remembrance in honor of our loved ones who were killed by illegal aliens. As you said, August the 3rd, 2014, my husband Javier, my son, Marine and Border Patrol agent Javier Harvey Vega, his wife, 2 of his sons and a friend, and I were fishing in Santa Monica, Texas. Within minutes of settling in, we were ambushed by 2 illegal aliens with many priors. Without warning, they jumped out of their stolen vehicle with guns that were not supposed to be in their possession in an attempt to steal 2 4-wheel drive vehicles. While trying to defend us, Harvey was shot in the chest and killed. My husband, Javier Sr., was shot in the back. Remember, you all, children were there fishing with their friends, and they just kept shooting. You could hear the bullets just whizzing past you. Javier Sr. returned fire with this weapon, and I grabbed the AR that Harvey had attempted to defend us with, and I returned fire as well. Had we not fired back, they would have killed everyone there, including the children, so that there wouldn't be any witnesses. And they killed an amazing man, a loving and honorable dad and husband. Thank God we have you in office. Without you, America and the world would not know the consequences of open borders. Thank you for restoring law and order. Thank you for acknowledging us, the angel families. Every day I think of you and the heavy weight of a nation that you carry with you. I can't imagine what it must be like to wake up every morning, work so diligently amid attacks and resistance from the left, to deal with the craziness, the fraud, and the swamp. But you get it done day in and day out, all while finding solutions to making America great again. You absolutely amaze me. Please know that we see it, and we, the masses, your constituents, are behind you 100%. When you were elected the first time, for the first term as president, I remember saying to my boss, this is exactly what this country needed, a businessman. You did an outstanding job then, and although you were cheated out of the second term, by the way, you won that election as well, and we know it. I knew the third term was going to be epic, and here we are, mega. Before I end this, I have to share a sweet story with you about my daddy. He absolutely hated the way people treated you and attacked you. On your third run for office, he said to me, "Mijita," which means my little daughter in Spanish, "can you check to see if I'm up to date and still registered to vote? We need to make sure President Trump gets into office." I said, "Of course, Daddy." And I did, and I checked, and he was registered to vote. We lost a great man, April the 3rd of 2025, and that would be my daddy. Again, thank you for everything. Thank you for backing Border Patrol and ICE and backing these families. Thank you so much.